friends, thank you for tuning into this video today. I'm going to take you on a tour of my Dreamlight Valley biomes. And I started playing Disney Dreamlight Valley in December 2023, and I knew about it for a long time before then, but held off because I was intimidated at the thought of decorating and thought that I would be really bad at it and really struggle. But it actually turns out it's one of the more fun and relaxing parts of the game for me. So I've been working on these biomes for quite a while and really happy with where they're at right now. And one of my friends, Carter, has visited several times via multiplayer. And the last time he was here, he said, "Tori, you need to share these." And this is what I am doing with his encouragement. So thank you so much, my friend, for giving me the nudge to do this. So as you can see, we are starting in the plaza at my house, and I will just turn the camera and show that I have the Monsters Inc. apartment, and you will have to come back another time for a tour of my houses because I have enough of them now that needs to be its own video. And have my crafting corner there, and then as you already saw with the yard, just a picnic blanket and the Cinderella carriage. And then coming this way, one of my favorite parts of the plaza is this paved walkway with the lights, and hopefully I can come back at the end of the video and show you a shot of this at night because I think it looks at its very best when it's lit up at night. And this comes down to my multiplayer kiosk, and turning this way, some things to notice here besides the flowers are my gazebo and Merlin's library, because the library felt like a building that was very appropriate to go up in the plaza because that's more of a town center to me. And then I have my founder's statue here. And then coming around over here, I still wanted Mickey and Minnie to be together, and I thought this was a good corner for them. So they are sandwiched over here in this corner, and you can see that Mickey still has his garden, and Minnie, because she loves flowers, I wanted to make sure that she had a lot of flowers. And then as I've been talking, you probably already noticed I have my 3 big buildings all lined up, kind of like a central point, and so they are all lined up here. And this courtyard is also here because of Remy's restaurant being here. I wanted there to be an outdoor seating place, and then just this past week I was able to add the Ratatouille fountain, which I think goes perfectly having Remy's stuff right here, so I was really excited to be able to add this. So that's the basics with the plaza. And then coming down to the peaceful meadow, I'm actually just going to stop here and point out that in playing this game, I found that with some of the biomes in particular, focal points were really important to me in terms of if you're standing somewhere and looking out at the distance, what can you see? And the Peaceful Meadow is one of those places where that became really important to me because I wanted this central focal point, and I thought that the clock tower would be a really nice thing to put here. And then also originally I had Woody's carousel on the left and Goofy's house on the right, so it created this nice kind of triangular shape to look at. That has since had to be modified and thrown off balance by Daisy's house. That's the only place I can put her right now that looks halfway decent without totally revamping a space. So that's what's going on here. And I wanted to make the clock tower area just really warm and welcoming and inviting, and I love seeing the characters come into this space and look at the clock and come and sit. And then going this way, another thing I'll just point out is I wanted this to have a very state park feel to it, in the sense of that's why there's a hammock here, and I don't have picnic tables down, but there's a picnic blanket on the other side, just a place that people if this were a place you could actually visit, that they would come and just truly be able to feel at peace in the meadow. So coming down this way is Wally's area, and obviously his house is here, but also his garden. And then I thought it would be appropriate, because of his love of the gardening type things, that he gets some of the orchard items. And then here, besides my well, is Mirabelle's house, which has been there basically since the beginning of the game. This is about the only house that has not moved once from where I originally placed it. I still really like it in this nook, although I'm expecting it's probably going to have to move at some point as more characters get added. And then coming around this way, I already showed off Woody's place, and there's a picnic blanket. And then here is where Daisy's shop currently is. And the building, I think, is a better fit for the plaza, but just because of the shape and the size, there was really nowhere for me to put it in my plaza right now, again, without totally revamping a space. And I just really like my plaza the way it looks. So I had this courtyard down here. There was originally benches on either side and an archway going in. So all I did was just scale back the courtyard a little bit and make room for Daisy's building. But again, with the flowers, the fountain, the benches, overlooks out the beach, I think this is a really welcoming place. So now let's check out the Glade of Trust. And one of the things with the Glade of Trust, this and also the Sunlit Plateau, it was very important to me that both of those spaces be cultivated to an extent, but also look very natural. So I tried to do a lot with foliage and just doing things where it still has this sense of like, oh, man hasn't found his way in here and made it a living space. There's little sections where it's like that, but still trying to have that effect of you're out in nature. I do love gardening, so I have a lot of gardens, as you're soon going to see, in my valley. So one of them is down here. And then coming down this way, past the Dreamlight tree, you're going to see also that I really love courtyards. So I thought about, okay, what would a Glade of Trust courtyard look like? And I decided that it would be kind of a camping type area. So that's why I have these wooden tables and the fire pit type stove. And then rather than crossing the rocks there, we're going to come around this way because I have another lit tree-lined walkway in the Glade of Trust as well, and I think it looks best when you come at it from this angle. So coming down here is another one. Again, I just lined these trees up, and again, I just love looking straight down this space. And it looks really good at night. Hopefully I can show this place off at night as well. And then they have these benches, nice place to sit and relax. And then it turns into this kind of neighborhood area with some of these houses from the premium shop that I feel like fit the Glade of Trust vibe, because they all have foliage, flowers, moss, greenery of some sort on the outside. So it just feels like a good Glade of Trust thing. So, for example, these two cottages, which actually the one is Dreamlight Bundle, not Premium Shop, and then the French Bakery and the Ugly Duckling Tavern. So this is the one kind of the most cultivated part of the Glade of Trust, just because it is like a little neighborhood down here. And again, all of those houses have at least one, but most of them have all three of their rooms decorated, so hopefully I can show that off in another video. And then coming down to Dazzle Beach. My Dazzle Beach is, I would say, pretty laid back. I didn't go too crazy with decorations. Just let the sand and the water mostly be left alone and do their thing. So I do have the Monsters Inc. sushi restaurant here and made it like an outdoor space. So I think this is pretty fun. Come on the beach and get a good meal. And then coming down this way, I do have a Zen garden and the hammock again, just for relaxation. And then here's my Dazzle Beach version of a courtyard. So first there is the ice cream and this little stand out here. But then this courtyard type area has Moana's fishery and then produce, including Goofy's stall. Just felt like a good fit to put these things across from each other and make it kind of like an outdoor market. And then coming to this side of the beach, I do have this well landscaped more than most. And then Prince Eric lives over here and he's got quite a lot. He's got a pool. And then he has more of the orchard things. And then I wanted to, again, try to give it a certain amount of a regal yet still beachy look. So that's why you have this pathway and the bushes and the lamps in front of his castle. So now we're going to check out the Forest of Valor. And rather than going up the hill through the beach, we're going to come this way because this is my favorite way to come into the Forest of Valor. And one thing, I'll just stop here. One thing to take note of as we go through my Forest of Valor is that flowers are very important in the Forest of Valor. This is probably either this or Sunlit Plateau, depends on what mood I'm in, are my favorite biomes that I've decorated. I just really love the look of both of them. Flowers are a big deal in this one. And I just have flowers, all sorts of different types of flowers peppered everywhere. And again, this was something, going back to my friend Carter, who encouraged me to make this video. He was talking one day on one of his live streams about, why something he'd read about, why don't we let nature just kind of have its way more often? Why does everything have to be cultivated and landscaped? Just let things grow. And he was talking about how he and his wife were contemplating throwing wildflower seed out into their yard and just seeing what would happen, if anything would grow. And so I heard him talking about that and I thought, ooh, that's a fun idea. Let me try doing that in my Forest of Valor. So that's why you'll see tons of flowers. But first things first, one of my favorite spaces up here is Beast Castle. This is me living out my Jane Austen Regency era dreams with how I decorated this with the brick fencing and the lion statues and the flower beds out front, and then you come in and you have these hedge mazes. Like, I can just totally picture someone like Mr. Darcy or Mr. Knightley living here. And I remember one day I actually saw Rapunzel inside this area and she had her easel out and she was painting. And she looked just like a Jane Austen heroine, or some fine, accomplished woman that Carolyn Bingley would highly approve of. So I just love this space, and I do have it set up. You can run all the way around the hedges, all sides. And again, flowers, flowers, flowers. You will just see so many flowers. And here's the stall and Beast Greenhouse, and then quite a bit going here. So I still have Anna and Kristoff in the Forest of Valor, even though their castle looks more like a Frosted Heights castle, because I'm, in this case, really more concerned with the story, because I do have an English background, so the story matters to me, and so I'm hung up on the fact that no, Anna and Kristoff, where they're at in the story right now, they do not belong in an icy world. They belong in a place that's more like Arendelle. So that's why their castle is here. And a few things happening in this area. They do have this nice seated walkway again that looks out over the beach. And then, in addition to putting wildflowers down wherever, I did also in the Forest of Valor want to experiment with what if you did actually take flowers and do some landscaping with them. So in this case, I gathered up all the flowers in the valley where there's multiple colors of the same kind of flower and arranged them in patterns of some sort. So here's the flowers on this side, and then the ones on this side, which there was no way to arrange them that doesn't give off at some point some sort of patriotic vibe, which is kind of funny to me. Then I do have this water tower, and then coming around this way, this is my wishing well area. Just a cute little space all its own. And then probably my favorite, besides Beast Castle, my favorite part of the Forest of Valor is this flower area right here, which took at least a couple weeks to get ready because I had to be gathering flowers constantly and stocking up so that I could lay them out in a rainbow gradient pattern. So coming down here, it starts with red flowers and then goes to oranges, yellows, greens, blues, purples, and then there are a lot of pink flowers, so I didn't want to leave pink out even though it's technically not part of the rainbow. So again, I just love how this space turned out. It's so welcoming and inviting. So next we will go to Frosted Heights. And you're going to see with my Frosted of Heights that because the way the biome is laid out, it's split into two sections. And so my decorating also follows that. And it basically, my Frosted Heights has two different personalities. So I do have the skating rink there. And you probably just saw a little snippet of one half of this biome's personality, but we'll start on what I consider to be the peaceful and serene side of the biome. And so this is a very Christmas leaning into winter with another courtyard. So I put a Christmas tree down here, and these winter things will just come in here. So these are things from the Winter Star Path that was in progress when I bought this game. And this is 100% inspired by Home Alone 2 and Kevin McAllister wanting to go to the Rockefeller Center to see the tree. That's what drove this, and this is a space that looks really good at night, so one I'm also hoping to show off. And then coming across, there's a lot going on. This is my happy chaos side. So I do have another courtyard because of all the frozen decor that the game gives us. I wanted to do something with that. But then right across from it, in contrast to those icy blues, you have this very vibrant pink and purple and candy colors for Vanellope. She's a hard one to place because of the aesthetic and the look of her house, but I just felt, especially with the candy cane trees that you can do with her, that okay, that's good for the Frosted Heights. So this is kind of like a little mini Candyland happening up here. So she's got her candy cane trees in her house. I do happen to have an igloo right here with the snowman and another garden, and then Vanellope, because it fits her color scheme, has the cherry trees. So now we are going to go check out the last two biomes, and not going to fast travel, just enjoy the ambiance and get our steps in. And I mentioned earlier, the Sunlit Plateau is another one like the Glade of Trust that I wanted to cultivate it to an extent, but also make sure that it still felt wild. because that's where the lions live, and so I wanted it to feel like animal habitat rather than human habitat. So one thing you'll see is lots and lots and lots of foliage trying to spread out the color with the flowers and the bushes and the trees, just make everything look very vibrant. And again, this is the sunlit plateau. It's sunny, so I just want everything up here to feel warm and inviting and bright. But this is the cultivated part, my ginormous vegetable garden. I was able to fit every thing that the game considers a vegetable up here except for potatoes. And I diagrammed this whole thing out to get it to fit the way I wanted, and even was mapping out, okay, what color are the vegetables so that things are alternating in color, so that you have greens interspersed with things that are very colorful. That's what shaped that. And then right here is where Pride Rock and Nala's Waterfall are going together. I think this is a nice look here. And then this bench just for sitting and relaxing. You can turn and look at the garden. And then we'll come back this way so we can get a good view of the flowers that I laid out in this biome. So again, just wanted to make a flower area, not fenced or anything, but just having fun with those different colors and the patterns. And then my cocoa trees live in here, and again, just lots of foliage and flowers. And then another courtyard. But in this case, I wanted to explore what would a lion's courtyard look like. And this is what I came up with the rocks and the logs and things. And if I could change one thing about this game, it would be that the lions would actually climb up on those rocks and use them, because I think it would be absolutely amazing if we could see them up here sunbathing. That would just be so fun. And then we'll come this way. I want to come up to the Forgotten Lands from this angle again, because my focal points in Forgotten Lands are very important. Also, we do need to look at Scar's area, because it still has the wasteland feel, but also I did liven it up with foliage of different sorts, adding some color. So there's that, and then finally we will go up into our Forgotten Lands. So we'll just take a quick peek at Jack Skellington's house, which is landscaped with pumpkins, lots of these purple trees. But what's really important is right here with this focal point, again, triangulated, looking down. I have a clock tower, and then the tree house, and the Christmas version of the Haunted Mansion. And I was trying to, rather than get frustrated by the fact that you cannot move the tree house in this game, I was trying to incorporate it into the way the biome is decorated. So I just think this makes a nice lit up focal point to look at when you're just standing and looking down towards the horizon. And it helps because the Christmas mansion is lit up, so it matches the fact that the treehouse is lit up. And then I have this gigantic pumpkin garden. Great when you need coins. And then I do have this well landscaped. And something to point out here with this is that I wanted the Forgotten Lands to have some of that barren and spooky effect, but I also wanted to balance that with color. So I put the flowers around and put color around the well. And here's a better look at the courtyard with the benches, so you could just sit and relax in there. And another way to add color is I kept the fairy godmother's house in here, because I think that bright orange of her pumpkin really adds a good pop of color. More of the purple trees, and then I do have Mike and Sully in this space because they are monsters, so the Forgotten Lands felt like a good place for them. And Jack Skellington's tree, and you'll notice also I do have it landscaped around their apartment. And then here's a better look at the mansion, which is decorated, so hopefully I can show that off another time. And then next to the haunted mansion is this cemetery, which this was inspired by posts that I saw in the Disney Dreamlight Valley Facebook group. So would not have thought of this on my own without seeing that. And have the attempt to make, this is how people make the graves using the game materials that are available, and then decorating with flowers. And one thing just to point out that I do quite like is I just feel there's something about this look right here with those bare trees in the back. I just really like this look. There's a certain peacefulness to it, even though it is a quote-unquote rundown cemetery with the fencing. So those are my biomes. This is all during the day, of course, but if you stick around, I'll just really quickly show you a couple of the areas and how nice they look at night. Okay, so we are back, and it has now changed to night, and I do like the look of the cemetery. I think I like it even more at night, just because then those lamps come on, and I just like the effect it creates. And then we're going to go ahead and do some fast traveling. So coming to the plaza, because I do want to show off this lit up walkway that I was talking about at the very beginning of the tour. So again, I just love this. I would be quite content to just walk straight down this, enjoy these lights. I just think it looks so good. And then same thing with the Glade of Trust. That one has fewer lamps, but it's still just, there's something about it at night, very peaceful. And you hear those crickets chirping. Again, I just love walking down this space, going through the trees, passing by the lamps. And I think that the cottages, they just look extra cozy at night when all the windows are lit up. The bakery, the tavern. And then one more, we will head back to Frosted Heights to show off that Christmas tree because it's all lit up. And I just think that's lovely. And I think the best thing is to come right here and just sit on this bench and enjoy the tree, the breeze, the sounds of nature. I actually think a great thing to do in this particular space is to turn the game's music off and just sit here and hear nothing but the wind, the foxes running by, those kind of things. It's just the most peaceful ambiance ever. So I really love coming to this space at night. So that is my Disney Dreamlight Valley biomes. Thank you for coming on this tour today. I hope that you enjoyed, and whether you are already playing this game or thinking about playing this game, maybe something in here will just encourage you. If you're nervous like I was about decorating, that you can come up with things. It doesn't have to be the most creative thing ever. There are other people who can do far more than I can, but just something that you can enjoy and makes you happy. So thank you for watching. Bye everyone.